All right, it's 4:08 p.m. on February 21st. We're going to call the Middleton Tourism Commission meeting to order. The first item on the agenda are approval of minutes. We've got January 17th.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kate.
no worries,
Okay.
Kate. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I had to.
To approve here. Anybody have anything to add to those minutes or questions about those individual meeting minutes?
This is Olson. I've reviewed them and I didn't see any changes. I'll make a motion to approve January 17th, January 25th, and January 27th, 23 minutes.
Perfect. Do we have a second? All right. Got Angela with a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Are approved.
Okay, we can go right in order.
Right in order. On to the Wisconsin Square Round Dance grant application. I need to repeat myself.
Yes.
On this.
I tried to give you guys kind of an at glance in the agenda. This grant request, so the last time they were here was 2019, and before that it was 2006. I was thinking, yes, we have a 3-event limit for tourism grant, and then it gets bumped to destination partnership grant. But since there's more than 10 years between 2006 2019, I think we could probably agree as a commission, it's like it's starting over. So this would actually be its second event, 2019, and then this year would be its second event. And so it would still qualify under the tourism marketing and development grant, which has a higher threshold, which is the reason why that's the one you would probably want. Just a quick glance at it. It's going to be August 10th through 13th. And we have Tom and Kathy here to answer any questions that you might have. The room block is 377 at the Marriott. In 2019, they also stayed at the Fairfield and Hilton Garden Inn and Country Inn and Suites, so there apparently was some overflow there. They're expecting 500 dancers this year. They're seeking a grant for $5,000, and this would go toward, well, they said facility charges, which of course we don't allow. So we would say equipment charges, which in their budget, which is attached, they had some for $4,000, and then they also had supply charges. So they definitely had enough in those in the acceptable categories to reach 5,000 if that's what the commission chooses. Again, this would technically be its 4th year, but I think they're pretty much starting over in 2019, so it'd be their second. And if you would like to go ahead and go forward with the tourism and marketing and development grant, you do have a threshold of at least $5,000 under your discretion. And you can choose, again, just to review for everybody, the new guidelines are out, but you can choose to do a flat donation or $10 a room night with a cap. That's generally how we used to do grants, but sometimes with events, we've done it 2 different ways. And if you have questions, we've got Tom and Kathy here to answer. We normally don't have grant applicants here to answer questions, so we're kind of spoiled tonight.
I don't have any questions. I'm excited.
No questions here either.
Pretty cool. This is Olson. I would make the motion that we approve the 5,000 flat rate that they're asking.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Congratulations, Kathy and Tom.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Look at your email from me. I'll send you your official letter. It'll tell you basically next steps and what the criteria are, because for our grants, we always ask for a report, but I'll tell you exactly what that report will have.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
We're cruising, everybody.
Yeah, moving right along.
But they had this really well laid out and summarized.
So the next grant application up, both Angela and I need to recuse for, is the combo plate, which is the American Cichlid Association, along with Catfish Cataclysm, doing a combined program here in Middleton.
I'm so glad that you pronounced all of those words. So this will be July 10th through 16th of this year. The room block anticipation for the Marriott is $495. Is this did they also have room blocks at any of your properties? Okay. They were talking earlier that there might be some overflow as well. The grant request is $4,950, and how they came to that conclusion was they did $10 a room night. And we were speaking earlier, and she's fine with that model as well. The funds would go towards speaker fees. They're bringing speakers, international speakers, and would appreciate some assistance in paying for those travel fees. And if you look at the budget that's attached, it's well over $5,000. So this would just be, you know, a little boost for them. This is the first time these two organizations are hosting together. The Catfish Cataclysm has been here previously in the Madison area. Have they been in Marriott too?
The Marriott and then the former Crown Plaza, the Doubletree Lost all their records.
And then before that,
Howard
the
Johnson's,
Or Howard Johnson's. Our
which
very
is also
first
out of
one.
business, so.
Well, we're fine if you want to make us your home.
We're thinking we do, so.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is,
And the service is terrific.
well, and
And
there
he
are
doesn't
a
even
ton of
vote,
hotels
so
right
I'm just
there
freaking out.
for your overflow as well. Though I would very much appreciate if the overflow stayed in Middleton.
Well, no, it probably will because people want to stay close, but they
Exactly.
ideally like to stay in the host hotel, but if they can't, they'll stay at the closest hotel possible. And I just wasn't sure if we had to make a financial commitment for overflow rooms, so, no?
So if we do $10 a room night, then it would have to be at any Middleton hotel.
Oh,
So it
right.
could be $10 a room night for the Marriott or Fairfield or Hilton Garden Inn, any of the ones. If you go to our website, you can see our 9 hotels
Okay.
too.
Okay.
The ones that are actually just on this side of the Marriott are Madison. Yeah, so if you want that $10 a room night credit, it would have to be a Middleton property, any Middleton property. And so, and they can choose the cap on that. If they want to just cap it at $5,000, or whatever you would like to do as a commission. And if you have questions, we actually have people in person tonight. This is like a first in 3 years. I don't know if the grant has come into one of our meetings. So if anybody has any questions, shout them out.
This, even based on room nights, the max is 5,000.
So the commission always has discretion to, and I wrote that into the guidelines. If there were ever an event that like World's Hockey that brought over 1,000 people for a night,
2,400 room nights.
that was different, obviously. But generally speaking, we've done like $10 a room night, and we've provided a cap. And then that becomes part of the report that you would submit to.
But I like where you're going.
Well, I mean, you know, if you think you're gonna bring 800 overnight room nights and you have a way, and the thing is, like, if you did do that and we did overflow, then you would be required to establish room blocks at other Middleton hotels to help us track that.
Right, and that's what I had the question about. Would we have a financial commitment if those rooms are not fulfilled?
So that's more of a
that's a
hotelier
hotel
question,
question.
but you know, generally it's based on.
I assume so, but
It depends on what's written into the contract, and that's based on rate.
And when your cancellation date is.
I don't want to break your quorum, so.
Everything's negotiable.
Well, if we're gonna have 400 attendees for 3 days, that's 2
Well,
room
some are
nights.
coming Wednesday, some are coming Monday.
Right,
yeah.
but Friday and Saturday, we're expecting 400 attendees. Right?
Maybe Wednesday, because they'll come in Wednesday night,
Okay.
because we've got speakers and activities on Thursday.
Right.
And then volunteers are coming in on Monday, so that's not a huge. I've reserved a room, Jan just reserved a room, that's probably, the 5 we have blocked out are probably gonna be taken, and that's it.
Okay.
Any questions online real quick?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Does anybody wish to make a motion? Kate, did you have a question?
No, I said no questions from Kate.
Does anybody, I'll fill in for you. Does anybody wish to make a motion on whether or not you would like to grant this request, and if you wanted to do a flat fee or $10 a room night at a Middleton hotel with a cap. Yes, he can't vote. She can. So far, yeah, you can so far. There's no guaranteed room
I
night.
just think that there's burns involved. I couldn't. So.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Then I would like to make a motion to grant the $4,900. Is that what they're requesting? Exactly.
4,950
Yep,
as a flat rate.
that's a flat rate.
So in that case, if they don't fill those room nights, they would still receive $4,950, just so you know.
Mhm.
We're gonna fill the rooms. I'm not worried about that.
Do we want to, cap it at that? Or if there are additional rooms, we want to accommodate the $10 per room night if there are more rooms?
That's a commission decision.
I'm looking to see what they.
You mean if we cap it more than the $5,000?
Yeah, like if they got 600 room nights, would we want to accommodate the $10 per night in the approval, or do we want to cap it?
I'm okay approving the extra flow, if that's what we're talking about.
I'm okay taking the extra.
So,
I'm
so-
sure you are.
So Jose, are you saying you're making a motion to approve $10 a room night with a cap of?
I was making a motion to approve what they requested,
Requested.
at flat rate. And I think then there was the question if we wanted to add $10.
So, okay, this is what I have. Jose has made a motion to approve $4,950 flat rate. Kathy is questioning
And
whether
asking what,
we approve $10 a room night with a cap of, and that is yet to be determined. So do we have more
let's
discussion?
go back here with the last time they were. I'd like to make a friendly amendment to that motion, if you're okay with this, Jose, is that we do the $10 a room night with a max of 6,000. I think that would that cover, you think, what you're, who knows? huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but the more, is that,
We're gonna do this event whether we get
Yeah.
the grant or not. No, we're gonna do the event. We've already committed.
Well, to be considered, you already had to have a roof block.
yeah, I know.
It's just gonna be a more,
Is that a lot more book, reporting that it was required to do it that way than the flat rate?
No, the report is
I'm-
the exact
okay.
same way, whether you do a flat rate or a $10 room night, because either way, reports have to include number of room nights because we track that. So from our end, it is not more work. From their end, it is not more work.
Okay, well,
You're
I
just-
put it out there and it's for discussion, whatever anybody wants to add on to that, they'd rather stick to, let's just discuss. Jose would have to agree to that friendly amendment if he wants to, after just, if we discuss it.
I am fine with that, Kathy.
Okay, so we have a motion for $10 a room night with a cap at $6,000. Do we have a second?
I will second it. And we can just
Yes. Any more
I wanna-
discussion?
want to hear from everybody if they're, how they feel.
I guess my question would be the overage then. Would that,
I
still
would
go into speaker fees or how would that be allocated?
Oh, their speaker fees are well over.
And
$6,000.
actually we added a 12th speaker, so yeah.
Okay, because their budget has multiple international speakers, so they're paying for transportation with that. So
Yeah, so we have that for the. reference.
Yes.
Kate, I mean, I don't know if she wants to.
Kate, did you have any questions?
I do not.
All right, so I'll just repeat that. We have a motion by Jose to approve $10 a room night up to $6,000 with overnight rooms. Nights would also be at Middleton hotels. That would be part of their report. And Kathy has seconded. If there's no more discussion, do we have a vote for approval? I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Okay, sorry. Any opposed? Okay. Carried.
Excellent.
Yay.
So do you want us to leave then?
You can totally, yeah,
Okay.
you do not need to stay for the rest of it. I will be in contact with you. I'll send you a letter. And it'll include all the stipulations and what the report will be. Okay. And I'll include contact information for all the rest of the hotels as well.
Good.
Angela actually oversees 3, so that'll be an easy one.
Oh, okay. Which
So-
hotels do you?
The Hilton Garden and the Residence.
Wow, okay.
Thank you both so much for coming.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Stay warm tomorrow.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, we're cruising. What's
4:25.
Wow.
okay? So let's. Yeah, as long as I'm not the one having to call out the Robert's Rule of Order here. We have Cindy Foley with us today. She's the meeting planner for Wisconsin Library Association. This grant is for the Marriott, so Jen again has to recuse herself. I apologize. I'm the one running this. Okay, so the Wisconsin Library Association has been awarded $5,000 for their fall conference, which will be here this fall, 2023. The grant application that you have in your packet is for 2024, but we received news from Cindy last night that they have decided to do an every other year. And so we have amended the application for 2025. So she is currently applying for a grant application for 2025, not 2024.
Yeah.
And it, her grant application again is for $5,000. And I attached the 2022 budget because they don't have their 2023 budget complete. And obviously, since that event hasn't gone on, we don't have numbers. But the numbers for 2022 and the expected room nights for 23 are listed.
Mari,
Yes.
just an update on the rooms for 2023. Jim and I did do an addendum and increase those room nights. So that total of 498 is not accurate. It's actually 590. Room nights at Grand Geneva were definitely higher. We do expect to use overflow as well. But for now, we're at 590 contracted for 2023, and total spend is 124,000.
I have one quick question before we kick questions over to the commission. I know this last fall in 22, you were at Lake Geneva.
Mhm.
And because Laura Ports, our convention and event services manager, attended that as a pre-promote. And she made note that a lot of the people she spoke with were from Madison and the Madison area. Do you expect that to affect room nights here in 23?
It always does, Mari. I mean, we always found, when I was at the Marriott, that Jim can attest, room nights are always down a little bit and attendance is up when it's in the Madison area. So if you take a look at the next page, we actually consumed 859 room nights at Grand Geneva. And you can see the scale back from 859 and we've only contracted 590.
Okay.
So, we've already accounted for that. And there will still be growth from this. As we continue to increase our attendance every year as well as the exhibitors. So.
And just, I know you were listening to the previous grant application. Obviously with that, we did a $10 room night with a cap, and overflow had to be at a Middleton property, and that's what we would expect here as well. Whether we gave a sum or if we did per room night. And again, this is 2025. I'll make that amendment in the minutes. And then Cindy, if you could actually send me another updated copy with your new room nights, I'll make sure that's the one that goes in the final minutes and saved into the system.
Certainly. Thank you.
When you say every other year, it's Middleton 1 year, what's the other place where it's at?
Well, so in 2022, it was in Lake Geneva. This year it's in Middleton. And then next year is the one that will be off.
24 and then 25 Middleton, but is it the same two places, Middleton and another?
That's a Cindy question.
At this time, it is, yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, there's just
That's
how,
what we're looking to rotate between Northeast Wisconsin and then South Central Wisconsin and
I
Middleton
got it,
every other year.
yeah. Makes good sense.
And then again, because would only be their second application, I still have them listed as a tourism marketing and development grant. So your cap is at, 5,000 with your discretion. The destination partnership grants, the cap is at 3,
Okay,
because those would be for events that are here a lot. And so we're just trying to help them with marketing. Tourism marketing development grants are established more to help new events get their foothold and get off the ground. Exactly. And then with them, their budget is also attached on the very last page. See here. Expenses, there we go. They have audio visual, and we allow equipment expenses for this as well. So what could qualify would be like audio visual equipment rentals, publicity and marketing. They had 3,000 under that. Basically those two things, because the rest of these would be food, beverage, facility, and regular conference expenses. And under audio visual, they have $10,000 listed as an expense in 2023, and 3,000 listed for publicity and marketing. And primarily our grants have gone towards marketing, but we did open it up this year to include things like equipment rentals, because like the square dancers have to rent a floor, and so the grant request, if you grant this request, the stipulations would be that it would go toward one of those two costs, which amount to about $13,000.
And Mari, can I interrupt one more time? The brand visibility expenses was intended to be kind of co-marketing with Middleton as well. So that additional 4,500 kind of comes under that brand marketing expense.
Oh, brand visibility.
Yes.
When you say co-marketing with Visit Middleton, what were you expecting?
So if you look at kind of all of the under what are the plans to integrate Middleton, you can see the four bullet points there. So looking at, I've had any number of conversations with Laura regarding the co-marketing things that we can do together, and definitely are looking at, again, increasing our attendance, increasing our exhibit base, promoting Middleton. The other thing that we're looking at is an off-site. So when WLA terminology, ticketed events, we're looking at taking the group off-site and using some of that money to take the group to downtown Middleton. We're not quite sure what that's going to be yet. We are Catherine at the library is working on that right now, as far as doing some things, certainly incorporating the library, but we're hoping to incorporate all the downtown businesses into these efforts. So
Maybe a story.
There you go.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So It's just.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments for Cindy? Yeah, it's October 2023 for this year, and it will be probably October for 2025.
Cindy, I did shift that prospect from 24 over to 25. I'm going to send you the dates right now that I've got just prospecting for you for 25, so you got them on file.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
But any questions for Cindy or for anyone else?
Looking at 590 for This year's already,
Yeah.
This year was approved
For
already,
5,000.
yes.
and they're thinking 590 for this year.
Nope, they've only asked for $5,000
No,
for 2025.
attendees, we don't.
Oh, sorry. Yes, 590 is the new room block for this year. If there are no other questions or comments, then does someone want to make a motion for this grant? Does anybody have any other questions before making a motion to approve or grant?
I don't have any questions. This is Kate. And I'm trying to, without having any video, keep up with the conversation. I agree with what you said. If you want to just give me one sentence to make a motion that's succinct, I'd be happy to.
Did you want to do a flat grant of $5,000, or do you want to do $10 room night with a cap? And then I can phrase that for you.
I thought the group had come to the conclusion of 5,000.
Well, yes, all
without the cap.
grant applicants tell us how much money they want, but the commission can decide if they want to do a flat rate or if they want to do $10 a room night. Traditionally, we used to always do $10 a room night with a cap of X number of dollars. It's up to the commission.
And
We've done it both ways tonight. We gave one group a flat rate and we gave the other group $10 a room night. So there's no wrong way.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the grant for $10 a room night with a cap of 5,000.
Okay. Excellent. We've got a motion. Is there any other discussion? All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve this grant for $10 room night with a cap of $5,000. All those approved say aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. All right, Cindy, you know the drill. I'll send you a letter and it'll say what the report will include. And I think I owe you a letter for this last time. I'm just trying to look up what your correspondence with Julie was on whether or not she included any stipulations for your last grant approval. But I'll be emailing you shortly.
That sounds great. Thank you. And
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, and so right before Kate jumps off, we have one last thing to vote on, and that is at the last meeting, we were discussing, giving the director, me, permission to allocate sponsorship grants. But we decided we definitely wanted to vote on that and we wanted to create a cap. So to kind of recap that, it was MTC will vote to grant tourism director, Mari Olson, with the ability to allocate sponsorship grants to qualifying groups and events based on destination partnership sponsorship criteria. So I'd still be following that criteria without presenting it to MTC for vote. And then the second part of that would be, if you all approve that, voting on what the cap that would be. Like I can grant sponsorships up to 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 without presenting it to you. And these would be things like Haunted Hustle, Gilda's Run, Capital Flight, Bachfest, who are looking for sponsorships. And sponsorships are, we provide money, they put our brand or logo on something, whether it's a merchandise or a website. And it's not necessarily about overnight stays.
Bachfest and 1,000.
Mari, what is,
Yes,
Mari, what is the
typical amount.
highest sponsorship that you give for a regular event?
I think 1,500 was one of the highest, like regular ones. Capital Flight, I think, was asking for 3,000 to put our name on a koozie last year, and we didn't have any money, so we couldn't even entertain the idea. But in that case, I could always come back to the commission and say, we have this sponsorship opportunity, but it exceeds what the cap is. I would say if you put the cap around $2,000, it'd probably be more than enough, because most of these things, we try to keep it at 1,000 or 1,500-ish, depending on what the event is going to be, because they're not creating that many t-shirts. They're not creating, because you're kind of looking at it as marketing in kind. You're giving them so much money and they're giving you brand awareness.
I mean, I think that, you should be able to make a call on sponsorships, definitely up to $2,000. So I'm happy to make a motion for the tourism director to approve
Have the ability to
sponsorship
allocate sponsorships.
for up to the amount of $2,000 without approval from the Tourism Commission.
Do we want to set a limit for the year for that, or do we just leave it open to?
Do we have a budget?
So the sponsorships come out of destination partnership grant funds. And so we don't have a limit to what sponsorships versus grants versus meeting planner incentives would be. It's going to be an ongoing thing of keeping track of how much money we have left in that bucket. And actually after tonight, I will send all of you an update, because we are blowing fast through our tourism grant fund budget. Because again, remember, we're not at pre-pandemic levels, and we gave out $16,000 tonight. So I'll send you guys an update on that as well. But destination partnership grant money are sponsorships. So things like Circle Wisconsin, which is $3,000, and I don't come to you guys with it because it's technically also a membership, so I just pay it. Bachfest, those are sponsorships. Gilda's Run, that's a sponsorship. And then you have your regular grants, which would be anything held at a hotel that has aged out of the tourism grant bigger fund, but also events. So like Strolling Jazz, this destination partnership grant opportunity. And then also meeting planner incentives are under that. Everything from VIP baskets to if they rent a trolley, etc. So while we're going through the year, we're going to have to track what we're spending and how much. When I was coming up with the number, we have $125,000 in destination partnership grants, but $50,000 is automatically going toward cross country. So at least $75,000. And when I was going through that, I did kind of try to figure out what are our regular sponsorships that we always do, what are, putting in a couple of little extras, and then what are some grants. And then like approximately how much money could we spend for meeting planners? And that's how I came up with 65.
Well, one of the ones we approved tonight was for 2025, so that doesn't really count against what we're doing.
Right, well, and that would be tourism grant money, and that would be something that I would
Even though we
for
approved it,
sponsorship.
yeah. Now, like the library, as you mentioned, like the trolley, if they're going to bring people downtown, is that something they could still ask to add on to?
They could, and in that case, a meeting planner incentive would still fall under the sponsorship, so I could approve or not approve
Yeah,
that.
so that's something.
But I will say, if somebody receives $5,000, I'm not sure if I would also approve another
Okay, just
$1,200 for
wondering.
trolley,
Just wondering.
where my mind is at, because one of the reasons we decided to do, one of the reasons I was like, I felt personally like meeting planner incentives were important, where we had all these events that were aging out of our grant program, but they're still worthy events. How can we still come up with a way of trying to promote them to come to our hotels?
Right.
But also, how can we promote hotels to come to, events, but not the Marriott, not the Hilton, the smaller hotel properties that can't host 400 people,
Mhm.
but they can host 50, they can host 100, 150, and we can provide lunches. We can provide a coffee bar for them. And that's where that came from, was a way to spread the love of the grant program with the hotel properties that can't host
That's fair,
400
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And that would be under the meeting planner incentive too, for kind of like a sponsorship.
But I still like to be able to have people, come down and see what Middleton has to offer. We want them to come back
Oh, of
again,
course.
so that's what I'm thinking too, so. Good. Understood.
Okay, so
That motion.
I'm just gonna reread this to you, Kate. Kate's motion was the tourism director has the ability to allocate sponsorship grants up to $2,000 without the approval of MTC. And I think that would even cover, like, if we had to rent a trolley. So I think that would cover most meeting planner incentives and sponsorships.
Mrs. Olson, I'll second Kate's motion. Oh, this is Kathy Olson.
What did you say?
I said this is Olson. This is Olson, yeah. I was the one who said we gotta put a K or an M on front of anything.
We've got a second. All those in favor?
I,
Motion
Okay.
approved. You are empowered.
Technically, Julie had it before,
Yeah.
but since we redid all the grant guidelines, which I'll be putting on the website soon, right now I'm getting them together, just also an FYI before Kate gets off. We're hoping to launch the new website, a soft opening in a couple of weeks to work out the bugs. And then when we do the big opening, launch, we'll actually have a video that we'll put out on social media and YouTube to get people to visit the website.
Cool.
But it'll probably be up and running for like several days while we're just making sure that nothing is crashing.
do you want us to look it over?
Yeah, I'll probably send people a link and be like, hey, here's what we've been working on. I was hoping to
Okay,
have a
very
few
good.
more weeks to work on this, but we're having an ad campaign start in mid-April. So we wanted it to definitely all the bugs be worked out by the end of March. So this will probably launch the second week of March. If I can manage it, because I've got a lot of writing to do, guys.
I know.
So, but Kate, thank you so much for calling in so that we'd have quorum. That's the last thing on our agenda tonight that we had to vote on.
All right, sorry to skip out early. Thanks so much.
No, thank you so much for joining.
Yep. Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye.
Okay. Okay, so what is left? Hotel updates.
All updates. I don't personally have anything major to report back that's changed. Business is still kind of trickling back in after the holidays. And, towards the end of winter here, we did have a group with the inclement weather tomorrow, obviously. They canceled some events with us, so I'm navigating that whole ball of wax. But yeah, no, it's still, steady climb. Positive.
I always seem to say exactly what each other said. Thank you.
Well,
If you want
that's
to
good, though.
If you guys were saying completely opposite things, I'd be a little worried about what's going on. Right, yeah, Q1 and soft, she lost a group in an event, incoming storm. Little bright spots just from renovation standpoint, you always think it's doom and gloom, but even though all three of our hotels are under renovation, all three are still doing better than they did last year. So that's a little bit of a win. So there is, more
silver lining.
big demand. Yeah. Just getting on my overflow that I can't handle on the weekends. all those groups. But it's nice to see a lot of inquiries for groups, and the rest of the year, Q2, 3, and 4 look really strong. All that makes sense.
This is Kevin's big weekend, right?
Yes, it is.
I will be there.
I will be there as well.
Now, I've never been to Bachfest. Is this where they like, you throw fish off the roof and stuff like that? Or is
Off the
that
stage.
off the stage? I love it.
And
Are you
it's-
serious?
They're semi-frozen,
That-
FYI.
Yeah. I told
Oh.
They're
my
not
dad's
live.
birthday, so.
No.
Okay.
I normally like this big.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And they threw them at us, at the crowd. But it's good luck. If you catch a fish, it's good luck.
I don't think that's good luck.
My friend caught a fish and she was promoted this year. Got a fish in the face and I got promoted.
Nice.
You might stink, but you're lucky when you leave.
Okay, good to know.
I like the idea.
It's so much fun. Dress in layers.
I will. 10 a.m. beer drinking, that sounds good to me.
Oh, okay, well, just to add on real quick to the hotel updates, if I can read this with my terrible eyesight. I have the January star report, and January's overall occupancy was up 14.2% from January of last year. So that's not bad. ADR was up 10.9. Revenue was up 26.7.
And this is for the 9 Middleton Hotel.
Yes, this is all 9. The star report is just the Middleton hotels. When I give you our Q1 through 4 revenue reports, that also includes Airbnb, Expedia, anything that does bookings for us that has to also add on the hotel tax.
And does yours have the comparison with the greater market then
No.
as well?
No, mine doesn't. I've actually been looking into what we might need. So at some point, it'd be great to actually sit down with you all and be like, well, what is it that we need from the star report? So I can put it into the budget because you paid for it, for our membership fees. This is what we've been going off of for the last, I think we've had the star report now 3 full years or 3.5 full years.
It's different modules you can add on to it, or?
Yeah.
To create sub-markets basically, or different kind of competitive sets. So for instance, if, my property lost a bunch of business to the Radisson over on Grand Canyon all the time, we want to keep an eye on how they're doing, then you can create a little sub-market, pick some west side hotels and kind of, monitor that.
So you can look at how we're doing compared to other little areas, compared to state, compared to the region.
The membership we have is like the least expensive you can have, and it just gathers data for Middleton. And for us, it kind of works as our tracking, because last year was the first year we engaged a company to do visitor tracking. It was arrival list, and they had a whole bunch of problems statewide with data tracking. And luckily for us, we contracted with them through the state department. And so when they came back and couldn't deliver, Travel Wisconsin, the Wisconsin State Department of Tourism said, you need to make this right, basically, is how I understand it. So we've already received, like, out of the $7,000, I think we've received something like $4,000 or $5,000 back as a refund. Yeah. And because the data was useless, it was spotty.
Oh,
You can't use it. This year we are contracting with Placer AI. So hopefully we'll actually be able to report back to you all about visitor spending next year. All right, so since that kind of led into my report, a couple of different things that we have. I was contacted by the sales rep for Mad Dog and Merrill. Anybody here familiar with that show? Their grilling show? So they contacted me and they would like to do an episode here in Middleton. If you book with them for a weekday, it's like $5,000, and the episode airs twice in their markets. They have markets in 36 states. I had never heard of them because they don't have any markets in the states I've lived in, but coincidentally, but Laura knew who they were immediately, and they do like a grilling barbecue show, and he thought it would be hilarious to do it with the Mustard Museum, and so I wanted to first get your feedback, because this isn't something we budgeted for. So if we did this, it's $5,000 to do a weekday episode. It's $7,000 to do a Saturday, which Mustard Days is a Saturday.
Okay.
And so you would pay $7,000 flat fee, you pay mileage, which is $2 a mile. We wouldn't have to pay for hotels because we are within an hour from their home base. And we would just have to supply like $150 worth of grilling food. And we can partner with people. So if we wanted to partner with Capital Brewery and then their product is in it. If we want to partner with Wisconsin Meat Market and their product could be within it, and National Mustard Museum. I would love to include partners like that, but I don't want to charge them.
Right.
So I would say if we wanted to do this, we should accept the full 7,000 and plus. But I wanted to tell you that if we did this, it may end up making us a little over budget in advertising. And at the end of the year, we'd either reallocate something from somewhere we haven't used or just approve going into the budget for that extra, like, let's say $8,000.
Has anybody mentioned any of this to Mustard?
I haven't spoken to anybody about it, because if it wasn't something the commission wanted to commit to, I didn't want to make you look like the bad guys who said no to something that they're all of a sudden now.
No, we're used to that.
But for me, but
I just,
when I was playing with it, this is kind of where I was coming from for it. Episodes, no matter what, are expensive. So actually the $7,000 for having an episode air twice, but my thing is you guys are from here. Have you heard of them? Do you know people who have heard from them? I guess years ago they actually did a couple of episodes in the Capital Brewery beer garden. Because he was like, well, we've been there before, and I'm like, well, that predates quite a few of us, I think.
So then if they did this, then people in Middleton, businesses in Middleton can redistribute this footage.
Well, how it would work is their video is like on their website and their social channels, and you can absolutely reshare.
Yeah.
And it's a public event. So they would come and they would be out there grilling and giving samples out to people. And then in the episode, they do product placement. So they'd be like, here's a Supper Club beer, or here's Hidden Cave Cider, and here's the Mustard Museum, goes great with this grill thing or whatever.
And Jim and I would be in our hotel t-shirts.
Right. and generally speaking, how that happens is when a destination wants to do a partnership with them, you would sell a sponsorship. So I would contact Capital Brewery and say, would you give X number of dollars toward this? And it pays for itself. But I would say we have the money to do things like this, and I'll get to that report soon. So to charge partners, $500 or $1,000 to get involved in this, we absolutely can if the commission says that that's the way we should go forward. I don't think we have to, because we are doing very, very well financially right now, and a lot of companies aren't, and they could do with a little help. I wouldn't feel ashamed at all to ask if Wisconsin Meat Market wants to be involved, if they would donate some of the meat, if Capital Brewery would donate some beer if it's in the show. But I feel like we are one of the few destinations that is we're financially stable enough that we can offer these perks to our attractions and businesses without asking for money all the time.
Well, nothing is Capital Brewery or anything. I'm just wondering if we pick which people we want. If someone says, well, why can't I do this? Why aren't you letting me do this?
But that's selection process.
Yeah, because it's
Well, how the selection process could work is sitting down with their people as well as us and being like, what would make a good show? Like, obviously Mustard would be involved because it would be during Mustard Days and there's a built-in audience. It's about a 3-hour commitment between setup and breakdown. I think the episode is a little less than an hour. And that's the other thing too, not being membership based and not charging also gives us the leeway to make decisions like that without a lot of repercussion. If we're membership based and we were to choose these three, that would be, it would never
that
work.
makes sense.
But we aren't. And in this case, to me too, we'd be highlighting some of the businesses we don't always highlight that much, like a grocery store or, I don't know. I'm putting it out there. We don't necessarily have to make a decision tonight. They did want me though to try to get back to them by March because we have to get on the schedule.
Well, I think that the sooner we would make a decision, the better, because I think that they're already making plans for muster day.
Yeah.
And
there's going to be construction, and we don't know when that's going to end. So I'm not sure what muster days is
August
going
might
to
be
look
a
like.
good time, yeah.
Yeah.
Jose, what do you think of this? And Kevin, I'd like to, there's businesses downtown. I'd like to get your, in the next door to the,
It sounds like a good idea. I don't know how much exposure the town will get for, you say you request how to share the video online? Is that how it works?
So it airs, you know what? 1 second.
Do we know what their viewership is?
There we go. I do. Oh, come here. Nope, that's it. Can you see that? Can you see the Mad Dog and Meryl?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what they said to me. So these are the markets that they're in. I'm gonna do that real quick. So they do 26 episodes a year and they repeat it. So you're going to be on at least twice. Let's see here. Where does it say? All shows are provided YouTube links to destination sponsors for use on web, social media, and trade. So we could embed it on our website if we really wanted to. We could put it on our YouTube channel. We could put it on social, and so could anybody who's involved.
So how long the episodes are, do you know?
Sorry, what was that?
How long the episodes are?
I want to say they're less than an hour. It says 90 minutes to record, so I bet it's less than an hour.
An hour show with commercials.
Yeah, because of
so we should be able to go to any one of these. And there might be a link, Baraboo.
So, and he said with these, they almost all did sponsorships. He also said that there are sponsorships involved, like if a destination's having a hard time coming up with the money, he has sponsorships with like, I don't know, ketchup or barbecue sauce. But he said then they're not local.
Yeah.
But these are the ones who have done something in the past. So again, $5,000. If we did it on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, it'd be $7,000 because if we chose to do mustard day as the event, which again, haven't spoken to Barry.
So this could, does this sound like it could come?
No, it would be $7,000 for the episode plus $2 a mile plus $150 for food. So like $8,500-ish.
Plus the sponsorship, covering the cost of the sponsorships, right?
No.
Or they would
The
cover the
sponsorships would be like if we
$7,000.
wanted to charge you to be in it.
That would cover the,
Yeah.
they're trying to cover your $7,000.
Oh, here we go. 30 to 40 minute podcast interview if we wanted to add that on as well.
Did
which
they explain
I'm
what
not.
that was?
The podcast, they just started podcasts, I believe, within like the last year. And so that would be an interview with me or you probably, or maybe, but anyway, that I wasn't even looking at that. So, and this is kind of weird. This is kind of out there. Just so you know, I do have money set aside for pop-up advertising opportunities, but I've used it. So I've contracted now with Sherpa, who does influencer programs. So basically I can contact, I think I have 5 or 6, and they will come to our destination and write 5 stories and take so many photos and we can use it. And basically it's like hiring a freelancer. And then I also purchased a half-page ad in the 2023 Brewers Yearbook this year. And we're doing a trackable QR code so I can see if it's going to do anything. It's full color, half page, and I got it for $3,500. So because they were really, really trying to stress Wisconsin destinations and not just corporate advertising. And so I thought, well, we'll give it a try because we've never done anything like it, and we'll make the QR code trackable, and we'll see how it works. But so that's why when this came on, most vendors hit you up in November, and so most of my discretionary funds for this were pretty much spent by January, because we only put $5,000 for that. So that's why I'm saying this may or may not end up coming out of another budget line or putting us over, which is why I'm bringing it to you, because I would want your permission to do that, because it would affect the budget line here. Now, last year, we came in about $40,000 under budget in advertising. We just didn't spend it. And I'll go over that with you later on why.
I like this idea.
So that's kind of where that is and why I was thinking it might be fun. But again, I would need to sit down and figure out, does Mustard Day even want to be involved? And Laura and I would have to take the lead on making sure that that got organized clearly. Who do we want to involve in it? Like, what names do we want to drop? How many can we do, etc. So,
Well, you have you don't want to just focus on downtown.
no, you don't want to focus on downtown only. We've got an entire city that we want to spread out to as well and look at what other things there
I
might
don't
be.
see the Mustard Days moving from downtown though, you know.
No, but I'm saying
including everybody.
other
Yeah, right, right.
businesses getting some
Yeah,
love from
exactly.
this. I would want it to extend past downtown.
Because I was just gonna say, it's easy enough because we have the Downtown Business Association just to say that. It's kind of just a convenient thing, but we do want to open it up.
Well, and
Chamber, it's more chamber than.
well, and honestly, we kind of we have a tendency to market and promote downtown more than other sectors in the city, and I feel like we need to put more of an effort. Like we don't promote Greenway as much. And yes, they do have a marketing agency, but they're also the reason some people come here. You know, like sometimes because we're stationed downtown, we think of and see downtown more. Of course, I want to promote downtown, but I bet you anything, if I did the numbers, 90% of everything I do is about downtown. And we have an entire city to promote.
Mhm.
And so I would definitely want to like intentionally think about businesses that are beyond this block too, like how could they maybe get involved in this commercial as well, even though it'll be filmed downtown, and obviously promote at least a couple downtown businesses. But I basically, all I'm looking from you guys is permission to keep exploring this opportunity and acknowledgement that we might end up going over budget in advertising and borrowing money from something that is under budget to make everything
Would
even
any
out.
of the money that came back to us from DM be attributable to this? Would that be able?
So I'll get to that with the report too on how that works, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, the short answer is no.
Like the way you think.
There's a pile of money.
I wish.
The end of the general fund.
Most certainly did.
So beyond the budget thing, is there any reason to not continue exploring this? At least in the next step?
Only if you guys think that it wouldn't be worth the money. Because again, I would assume this is gonna end up costing us $8,500. I don't know what mileage is going for these days.
I just want to say, I'm on their YouTube channel.
Yes,
They have less than 1,000 subscribers and usually get, I would say they average 100 views on their videos.
because that
I
doesn't
think we,
surprise me. They're on, they're syndicated. So they're
Okay.
on like TV channels. And so, but looking at who they are though, like their social presence and things, it doesn't surprise me that they're so far behind on YouTube. That doesn't surprise me. But that's an excellent point. It's an excellent
yeah,
point
it's not very impressive.
from the digital perspective.
Well, they should have some viewership numbers if you asked. Well, that might be-
Like they gave me that.
Okay.
We can put a pin in this, and what I'll do.
Yeah, they're on the channels they're on there are the like 0.1s on free TV, like that. 9.2, it's kind of the local access stuff that you have to have an antenna to even see.
Yeah, they don't do, from what I could tell, they don't do stream media. Well, that's something too. I don't know,
They
like.
may get more
nobody
attention
in
from
this
us than
room
we get
heard
from
of them.
The name sounded familiar, but I've never seen any.
I mean, Laura had, but like, if nobody else in this room had heard of them.
I'm not really in the grilling target market.
I'm not either. But I also, I haven't watched connected television for
Right.
like 15 years, so
Right.
I don't know those things either.
I don't think there's any reason to not move forward, at least with the next step, asking them more questions, coordinating with other people to see if there's interest. There's always a point where you make the final decision, so why not ask more questions?
Well, and I could also not just ask for like, I guess I feel like that gave me viewership, but I don't know where that is. But I could also just ask around a little bit too and find out if anybody else has heard of them.
The towns that were listed are smaller, you know, so they're definitely reaching out to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where their towns were made me think of like the Discover Wisconsin TV shows, like.
Yes, but they have a way bigger
Yes.
regional reach. Even if it's not like further out, it's
Right.
their regional reach is amazing. But Discover Wisconsin episode, just to kind of go off on a tangent, to do an actual episode with the social package that you can, you know, share yourself and all of that, it's like $25,000 to $46,000. Yeah, because I've looked into it several times, and we're just not in a position where we can afford that yet. But I would love to at some point, because their episodes are really, really, really well done. And if you do it right and things are done, like our downtown is actually complete,
Yeah.
like it's evergreen for a lot longer. There's a really old George McGivern,
Yeah.
Givern, is that how you say it? Episode out there where if you watch it, like it doesn't even look like Middleton anymore.
That's not the Tegu one and the Tegu.
No, he was showing up and down this area. Nothing was across the street. He highlighted American Girl, which, yeah. So anyway, if you want, I will just keep looking into this a little bit more. Just to even see, I mean, to all of Kevin's points, just to see if there is no real digital reach, do we want to keep exploring it? Because for us, our commercials this year and last year have gone entirely streamed. So we actually don't produce commercials on regular television at all anymore. We haven't for the last year. We only use streamed media.
There's the reason we made that.
Yes, we made that choice because even older audiences are going to paid stream services.
Cause yeah, they have their own line of products as well. I feel like we're gonna be promote, like, they're gonna be, we're paying for them to come be a commercial for their stuff. And like, I have more, like the brewery they benefit more from me putting their stuff on the brewery social media than the other way around.
Yeah, yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
Okay. This is all good things for me to think about.
And they're gonna be talking about their seasonings and their sauces the whole time. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you're here, Kevin. I got, I don't know, not dazzled.
Dazzled by
That's
the
the
big
wrong
city
word.
lights.
But you know, listening to his pitch and looking at everything, I thought, well, that's really fun and pitchy and kind of totally different for us. But I mean, Kevin's making excellent points right now.
Absolutely.
Let me keep looking into this before I even get
I
back
think
to
the
you guys.
viewership numbers are gonna be key. If they're. super
Well,
low,
that for markets is going to actually look better than it probably. Because when you're thinking about it, what does it matter if someone in Alaska is watching?
Very true.
Because not that we don't love Alaska, but they're probably not going to fly to Middleton anytime soon. We would love to have you, anybody from Alaska watching. Okay, so the next thing okay, so it's 10 after. I would love to get you guys out of here earlier than later. I did speak with Yuri, by the way, and he is now going to be gone. So he was gone this week and was going to Zoom in, and we bumped him. And now he's going to be gone the week of our next meeting. So if we want, I can send out an email, and if we want to have him do a special Zoom report in March, we can set that up just as a Zoom meeting to listen in. Or I can have him submit his report to me and then go through it in March and then ask for questions. But, you know, technically speaking, we should have had him here this week, but he was going to be out of town and I didn't know that. And So in March, he's going to be on vacation. So that's why he can't even Zoom in during that meeting unless we moved our meeting. So that's kind of where we are with that.
We didn't require him to be in person anyway, did we?
Nope, we just required quarterly reports.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, I think it was quarterly.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm gonna zoom through a few things. Let me see if I can get the budget back up. All right. I think it's this one. There we go. Okay, so I put together a proper annual report and I can kind of email you guys copies of this. A lot of this information is actually from the annual report I submitted to the city for their city annual report. I don't know how much of it is going to be included or has been included. But the takeaways are 2022 was a comeback story for us. We did well beyond what we had anticipated as far as revenue and events that were coming in. At the beginning of 2022, we had $2,195,429 in the tourism fund balance. Even after we submitted $50,000 for our first installment for this cross-country center, we ended the year with $2,875,022. So it was the first time, I think, since the pandemic that we've been able to add money to the general fund, I think. The 22 approved budget. So again, this is the annual review for 2022. The approved budget was $1,263,337, and that includes everything from tourism, marketing, development, and our operational costs, salaries, etc. We thought our tax revenue forecast was only $1,112,354. So we anticipated starting in 2022 that we would have a shortfall. Our overall revenue came out to $1,797,273. That includes our hotel tax, the grants that we received, and a credit card rebate. As part of this too, by the way, our revenue, so we did submit a request to Madison Area Sports Commission for a refund for all unused grants. And that came out to $28,245 that they were holding for us. And when we received that refund, it went directly into our hotel tax revenue. So that was included in the overall revenue. I also put a little notation on here that the commission saved, if you want to call it that word, $36,543 because I was doing 2 jobs for 6 months. And also we have hired a marketing manager, as I mentioned. She starts on Monday. Her name is Amy Oldenburg. I'll send you that. She is from the Madison area. And so we'll definitely set up a time for her to be able to meet you all, definitely at the next commission meeting for sure. So the quarterly review, we got our 4th quarter results in. They were pretty decent, honestly. Like, just to do a recap, Q1 was 145% higher in 2022 than 21. Q2 was 140.5% higher in Q2 2022 than 21. Q2's revenue also surpassed 2019's Q2 revenue. So we had a banner Q2. Q3 was also higher than our record year in 2018 by almost $60,000. So our Q2 and Q3 this year, nobody saw that coming. Q2, definitely part of that was the World Hockey Championship being here for a couple of weeks, right? Q3, I am not entirely sure how that happened. Events started coming back, but I don't remember any additional events that we hadn't had in the past. So leisure travel must have really been higher than we thought. And Q4 was up 67.3% this year from last year and was almost 99% of 2019's Q4. So even though Q4 doesn't feel super, impressive, we were almost at 2019 levels for Q4, where we were normally sitting, which actually doesn't surprise me because Q4 is Q4, right? It's the holidays, it's winter, it's people who are coming home. And during the pandemic, we didn't really lose that many events. We lost people coming home. And so I just wanted to give you guys an overview of each quarter, but also what the overall revenue was. Our revenue over expenses for 2022, and this includes the grant we received, was $681,485 that we were in the black or the green, which everybody should feel really, really good about the work that was done last year to try to bring that back. The group tour sales, the leisure, everything. Hopefully our marketing made a difference. Bringing events coming back. I know last year Kevin said that they had record numbers for Bachfest in attendance last year at close to. I was quite surprised, especially when I was going through, because for the last 6 months I've been doing everything possible to save money because I thought we were going to have shortfall. and so we didn't spend all the advertising money. I did a lot of things in-house rather than sending it out because I was trying to save us money. And now that I know we could have, I'm kicking myself because that was pretty stressful. But the rest of this report, and I'll email this to Jose and Kevin as well, but this is kind of stuff that I just also included in the city report, which, we did Keeping Neighbors Warm this year rather than the big bundle up because the state ended that program. So we continued with our own winter weather gear. And by we, I mean Laura. I put out some, some marketing stuff for this in a press release, but Laura is the one who contacts the locations, goes. I only went and picked up things 2 times, 3 times. She went every week, a couple of times. The library sometimes had to be cleaned out 3 times a week. And then she took them all to the Middleton, Middleton Outreach Ministry. I also mentioned in here, obviously, it was a big year, when you think about it. We also canceled the trolley contract or just didn't renew it. The new visitor guide came out last year, and obviously we have a new one now, but completely redesigning that was a big effort, and it launched in January along with the new brand. Believe it or not, in 2022, we also launched a new brand in 2022. It feels so much longer ago than that, but it was January 19th. I remember it well. And then in 2022, we went out to RFP for a website agency, and I began that process with Beltran Lincoln in August. And like I said, I'm a little behind, but they're also way ahead because I thought we were going to launch in April, and they were asking about doing it in February. I'm like, guys, we're still faster than I thought we would be, and I'm doing this by myself. So we're just hopeful that it looks good when we're done. Okay, so be gentle. The Middleton Visitor Center, this is sort of a recap of what we were telling you before about visitor numbers, but also how much money we spent on the painting. I did not include the renovation project within. I can get those numbers for you guys. It was going to require me going through a lot more to try to find out, because we didn't just contract with company ABC and they did it and here were the bills. It was so many different contractors. But that's how much the repainting cost. That was easy for me to find. Marketing and advertising, if you guys are really interested, I actually have a year-end report on all of the numbers, depending on how much you want to nerd out on marketing. But a snapshot view would be, well, we hired Beltran Lincoln in 21 to take over in 22. So that's a 2-year contract. And so we'll be going up for contract renewal with them this summer. We'll be looking at that contract and going through negotiations and everything. But we switched to only streamed media. We did digital ad campaigns, multiple flights in May, June, July, August, and September, and then the very beginning of October. And we're going to be mirroring that this year as well. And again, switched entirely to stream TV. We invested in 2 USA Today branded content articles. One was about 6 reasons to spend time in Middleton this summer, and another was experience the best of Middleton's fall cuisine. And so those appeared on USA Today's website, and it says like sponsored content. But what you do is you send all the content and the photos, and then somebody writes something up for you. We did digital budgets. Those digital budgets remained in the same designated marketing areas for Milwaukee and Chicago, but we did dip into Northeast Iowa last year for social. And this year we actually approved a budget, I think 50,000, to start getting more into Northeast Iowa. So that DMA would be more like the Cedar Rapids Dubuque DMA. Paid social media. And so when I say paid social media for ad campaigns, we're talking like the big campaigns Walter Lincoln's putting together for us. That's like a commercial and we're putting it out. And then there's also paid social where I'm posting something and I'm boosting it. But when I'm doing that, I'm just doing drag markets, or I'm possibly only geographically targeting like 50 miles out. Or like Bachfest, I was drive markets, and then I might also only target drive markets with people who say that they like craft breweries, you know? This gives you a little bit of an idea of everything, but a year in review would be, and this again, this would be the campaigns, not our regular, almost organic Facebook. Our campaigns received well over 10 million impressions and 96,000 clicks and almost, well, I'll just round it up, 1,700,000-ish video completions, which is huge. So those are people who started one of our videos and actually completed it to the end, whether that was on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or online somewhere. If we did a pop-up. And then we also, of course, always do local promotions. So Bachfest, Pie Day, Story Walk, things like that that are more of a localized event that we wouldn't create an entire campaign around. But I definitely target drive markets. Tourism newsletter had, as of January, it had 15,999 subscribers. That's actually down. We lose some subscribers after giveaways because people subscribe just to do a giveaway, but also MailChimp will clean you out if you haven't opened an email. And I want that. I don't want people who aren't opening it to still be counted, because that doesn't give me any data. If I was trying to sell you something, it might look good, but it doesn't help me with any data. So our MailChimp is set up to clean people out. Facebook, our following is 34,818. It's not bad. Instagram has actually grown the most probably since I started, because we were so low in the end, but it's still only at 2,719. And so I did a co-op ad with Travel Wisconsin last year, and I'm going to do 2 more. I did 3 last year. I think I'm doing 2 more this year. And those will be Instagram, where they post one of our photos and a link to us, and trying to grow our Instagram presence through their followers. And then, of course, this just lists a few more of our additional ad campaigns, you know, Strollin' Jazz, Mustard Day, Good Neighbor Fest, National Travel and Tourism Week. We do all of those things too, National Planet Vacation Day. And then this gives a little idea of kind of what some of our gift baskets are. So last year, through the generous donations of a whole bunch of businesses, including, you know, Capital Brewery, that's their cooler, for Battle of the Badges. They did a raffle to raise money for a family battling cancer. And then for National Travel and Tourism Week, we distribute cookies to the hospitality workers as a thank you. And that gave a little photo of that. I believe they're Hubbard Avenue Diner cookies. Local and regional partnerships. So this just includes basically like who we partnered with what, like DMVA, we partnered on Story Walk. City of Middleton for Stroll and Jazz and also Art Walk. And that just kind of gives a sum up of the different groups who, these aren't necessarily groups who've received money from us, but they're groups that we've assisted with their event or their campaigning. And maybe it's just something as simple as, I mean, I used to send out all the press releases for Story Walk. And I'll probably continue to do that while they're searching for another marketing person, because they have, yeah. So like they're down the marketing person again. And then on the back, I thought it was really interesting. I just added up the grant program. In this, in the year of 2022, the commission, and this is money actually given, not just pledged. So in 2022, you cut a check for $111,315 worth of grants. And that does not include VIP baskets and basket giveaways that we do for meeting planners. You know, the promotional giveaways that, like the Track Coaches Association, I don't even know how many of our chip clips I gave out, right? That $111,315, so that's actual grant money that was given in 2022. You have actually approved grants going forward into like 2025, 26. I just wanted to give you an idea because, you know, we're just coming out of the pandemic and that's still a pretty decent amount of money. And it does include the Madison Area Sports Commission. You know, last year, and it doesn't include USA Curling because they actually received their money before last year, but in 2022, USA Curling also received $25,000 from us.
Seems like the sports ones get a little more than everything.
They do, which is something we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
So again, I'll email you guys a copy of this just so you can have it in your book. I thought it might be nice to be able to have like a quick shot of how the commission did last year and what we were all participating in. Honestly, it's kind of breaking because the Visit Middleton and the commission did a lot of really good work last year. And considering the fact we didn't even open the visitor center until the second week in April either. So going for the next meeting too, the only thing I have on it is Yuri's report, which I'll get back to you on whether or not we can even do that at the next meeting. But I also am hoping that we'll be able to show you what the new website looks like, but also we have to start deciding what the 3-year strategic plan is going to include. So I thought maybe hopefully by the end of March, I'll have an outline. Looking at things like, I've already begun an audit of Madison Area Sports Commission. I asked them to send me the last 10 years worth of leads because every hotel is a member, correct? So you're already paying a membership and receiving leads. We're giving Madison Area Sports Commission 10% of our profit share. So we want to start looking at ROI. And so that's the first step in an audit. And then hopefully we can work with the strategic planner on looking at our Destination Madison and MASC partnership and what we're getting for that money. Because last year we gave them $233,000 and change. What did we get? And that sounds very mercenary, but to me, that is an extremely large amount of money for our small destination. I know that Fitchburg and Verona, they also give 70%, but they don't have 9 hotels and they don't have a convention hotel. And so our 17% is significantly more than what they're paying in. But are we receiving that much in kind? That aren't already services that we would be receiving because our hotels and venues are already members. And so these are all things I want to look at because Julie signed a 3-year contract. So this contract actually goes to the end of 2024. So in 2023, I want to look at our partnership. I want to make sure, and if it comes out, we are getting a wonderful deal, great. But it gives us time to start thinking about that before we renegotiate in June of 2024. And I don't want any of this to sound like a surprise to anybody that I'm bringing this up. And if anybody has questions, you can call me. If you don't think I'm on the right track, you can call me. But I will say, Destination Madison, we have to pay in because we aren't certified. The only way to have any real negotiating power there is to privatize. And I don't know if the city would even allow that. And that would be becoming a 501c3, which would make us a certified DMO. We could be a full member of Destinations Wisconsin. We would be able to apply for grants on our own, and we wouldn't have to pay Destination Madison anything. It could be a grant process. It could be a partnership fee, that kind of thing. But it would require privatization. I don't know if the city of Middleton would even entertain
Well,
that.
and if you're paying that much money into it, you would need extra staff to do some of the work here.
Only if what they're providing is actually equal to that. Because again, if all of our properties are already paying members, we're going to receive those leads anyway. But it is true, like with that money, we could hire our own salesperson.
Right, and you'd want somebody that could track down the grant money, you'd want somebody to do a lot of.
Well, I'm already doing that.
Yeah. Oh, well then.
There are benefits. There are benefits to being a city department, 100%. But what I wanted to say though is, because it's not like we've talked to anybody, and this would be a shock to a lot of people. I don't want it to be a shock to you if it comes that the only way we could negotiate anything differently is if we privatized, and if privatization isn't even a possibility on the table, then this is just something that we need to accept, that 17% is where it's possibly going to stay. And so, I mean, again, I haven't spoken to Brian about it, I haven't spoken to anybody about it.
Yeah.
I don't see it as,
Look a little deeper and,
Yeah,
exactly.
it doesn't hurt to understand it better.
that's right,
Right.
and understand pros, cons, what is the city.
It wouldn't
can-
hurt the city at all, because the city would save money, but the commission would have to hire a part-time accountant, hire part-time IT, fill in the gap. If we pay our own insurance, but obviously the city contributes a little, we would have to bump that up. The city would still receive the same percentage that they always receive.
But you know, you're, the city building, a city. everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's
Like,
a lot to be.
This being a city department gives us, I don't even
Benefits.
know how many benefits when you
The
count it all up.
benefits, yeah.
From
Salary.
personnel,
Yeah.
I mean, to having Bill Burns at our call, having
Yeah.
Drew, right? Having an entire city where I can call and say I'm having difficulty and we're going over and talking to Brian. I mean, there are tons of benefits to that. And so the strategic plan would have to come out being like, no, really, like, here's the list of why privatization is the most financially responsible way of doing it. To even, I think, for the commission to
I think
consider
that'd
it.
take a lot, like you said, a lot of research for you and to be able to.
Well,
to
and
give them
that's
that
why I'm
info.
starting some of this audit, because that's the first thing that they'll ask for. But I wanted everybody to understand like how that would work. And recognizing like this is an open meeting, anybody from Destination Madison, you know,
Yeah.
hello. But
I always think it's fine to talk and look at options. I mean,
well,
and
and
know if you go back to the same place you came, at least you know why you're there.
well, and this is how it comes down for me. We have been in a partnership with MASC now. This is our 10th year. So to me, it makes perfect sense to do an audit. We are planning on renegotiating or re-signing our contract with Destination Madison, obviously before the end of 2024. So to me, it makes perfect sense, especially since I am a new director and most of our commission is new, to go back and be like, well, how has this worked? I don't want this to sound negative. It's been a
No.
wonderful partnership. But I have had almost every commission member and multiple city people come up and ask me to defend how much money we give them. And to be quite honest, I don't really have any data.
Mhm.
And so this will also help do that. It'll hopefully come back and say, wow, you are getting way more than you're paying for.
Mhm.
And then it'll be so much easier
Yeah, yeah.
to go forward.
I
in
think
partnership.
it's smart. I think it's smart.
But if you see the word privatization in the strategic plan, nobody freak out. First of all, we can't even that's not a decision for us. We can't make that decision. And secondly, it would only be because you have to have something to compare it to. And I'm not suggesting that. But it would be the one comparison. If you're a 501c3, how much would it cost versus being a city department? And there are other departments in the state, at least 3 others that are set up in a similar fashion to us. And so we could hopefully reach out to them and be like, well, how's that working for you?
The
Because
private, the private.
they are a city department, but only they don't actually answer to their city council or finance department the way we do. But they're a city department who I believe also has to pay in to a certified DMO the way we do. So I could reach out and be
Yeah.
like, how is that working for you?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like as well? Because again, I don't want to say anything. Destination Madison has been wonderful and the people there are wonderful.
Right.
But it seems irresponsible to not audit the process after all of these years. Anybody online? I've been talking nonstop. Do you guys have anything to add?
Information is good.
Okay. Right. Jim?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
We have second. here.
Oh, do we need
Oh.
Kathy
I skipped
second?
it.
I'll second it.
Kathy seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right. Fantastic.
Hey,
Gavin, I'll see you on Saturday morning.
Me too.
sounds good.
All right, thank you so much. I will stop recording.